I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Well, I've been talking about Hamilton a lot recently, so today we're going to do something different. Today we're going back to the very beginning, to the core of my channel, I guess, and we're going to be talking about The Sound of Music and who, in my opinion, is the unsung hero of the movie. And that is Ernest Lehmann. Ernest Lehmann wrote the screenplay for the film version of The Sound of Music, and it saved everything, in my opinion. Criminally, the man wasn't nominated for an Oscar. The poor man never won an Oscar in his entire life. I've mentioned it many times, but in case this is your first video or you've missed those particular ones and just didn't know, the stage version of The Sound of Music and the film version are really quite different. More than many film adaptations are to their stage counterparts. I just rewatched the Do Re Mi clip from NBC, just in case I need to mention comparisons in this video, and amidst all the comments about how Carrie was bad and the show was way too American and problematic and all that, there were a few comments in there about how, oh, it's so different. Well, yeah, it's not like the movie because it's not the movie. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people get mad at the musical and say, oh, they changed everything, without realising that the movie actually changed most of that. The biggest complaint the musical had, at least before the movie came out, is that it was so sugary and so saccharine. And yes, it is. In fact, it's downright cringeworthy at times. But in the film, a lot of the sugariness is gone, and pretty much all of the cringy stuff is gone. And that's all thanks to Ernest Lehmann. That all has to do with the fundamental changes in how the story was told. And that's all thanks to Ernest Lehmann. With the screenplay, an early version of it anyway, he described the opening scene, so sort of the montage before we see Maria and she starts singing, by not really describing it at all. He said, I will not describe the specific locations. I will tell you the mood, the feeling, the effect I would like to see. That alone shows just how different the tone's going to be. In my opinion, most of what makes the stage show cringy is the dialogue. And while the dialogue from the original musical is definitely there to some degree, the script is entirely different at the same time. He somehow changed it in a way so that all the cringy parts were gone.
What he did brilliantly was take the stage libretto, the book, and use many of the lines. If you compare them, almost all the lines of the stage show are there, but he changed the humor a lot.
He somehow managed to change it enough and in a way that it wasn't cringy. The film version of Sound of Music is so heavily clamped down by copyright, especially now that it's owned by Disney, so that's why you never see any clips of it in my videos. You can see clips of like the musical versions, but I will do my best to do some comparisons while having clips from only one side.
I didn't think I'd have to make a decision this soon.
Georg, if they should invade us, would you defy them?
Yes.
Now, No Way to Stop It doesn't happen in the film, so there's no opportunity for the captain to announce his stance on this political matter so overtly. But even without No Way to Stop It, if that line was still in the movie as it was, it would be cringy, because even without No Way to Stop It, we know exactly how he feels about the Nazis. In the film, he just tells Maria, we need to get out. This is what we've got to do. He's already in control. He's been counting on this to happen, and he's already planned accordingly, long in advance. No, help me make the decision that 3 scenes earlier, it was very clear I had already made. The captain is so much better overall in the film. The show was written essentially for Mary Martin to star in, and as such, just about every other character suffered. Even Max and Elsa, who I'll talk about more in a minute, really don't have too much to them in the stage version. Now, part of what made the captain so much better in the film was Christopher Plummer. He all but demanded the character be rewritten because he thought it wasn't a well-written character, which it wasn't. But his insistence wouldn't have made any difference had Ernest Lehmann not followed through with that.
I'd grown up playing extraordinary great roles, and suddenly to be handed the Captain Von Trapp was not exactly the greatest part ever written. And I was rather snobbish and rather badly behaved, but I did make my point that I wanted the character improved. And Ernest Lehmann, who already was one of the most distinguished screenwriters in Hollywood, listened to my suggestion. And he gave me some humor, some edge, some darkness, some irony, which the part didn't have before he tackled it.
Another character that shows that things were better in the movie, Rolf. Rolf is better in the movie. Better by being worse. In the play, he's a wuss.
Lieutenant! There's no one here, sir.
All right, come along.
That kind of makes him better. In a sense. Makes him kinder. But in the movie, he sticks to his convictions, which makes him stronger. But it also makes him stupider. Running up to get your superiors and leaving the Von Trapps alone is just about the worst thing you could have done, Rolf. They want him alive. So, Max and Elsa. Max and Elsa are definitely worse in the film. As I said earlier, a lot of people who see the musical end up bashing it because it's not like the film, when they don't realise how different the film was from the original musical. But with Max and Elsa, it's kind of the reverse. People who love the musical don't like what happened to Elsa and Max in the movie. When I say worse, I don't really mean worse. They're not bad. What it really is that their biggest moments on stage connect to the element that was very much cut in the film. On the stage, Max and the Baroness are a window into the political situation. Almost in a plot device way, actually. Not that they don't have any character, but in the way that they specifically show the political situation, it's almost plot devicey. But that was all cut from the film, and as such, they weren't left with a whole lot to do. But I don't think they are bad in the film, by any means. They still play off each other so well and do what they need to do. And really, it's a small price to pay for everything else being better. Like the love scene. Oh my god, the love scene is such an upgrade from what we get in the musical. As I said, Max and Elsa are there to show the political situation, and the Baroness's relationship with the Captain is very much politically dependent. Their relationship doesn't end up working because of the difference with their political ideologies. She and Max are pretty much neutral and want to stay on the fence and just do whatever they need to keep themselves safe, whereas the Captain is very, very clearly opposed to the Nazis. So obviously the relationship doesn't work. And in the musical, she's the one to break it off. And it's pretty unemotional isn't quite the right word, but there's definitely nowhere near the same level of heartbreak as there is in the film. Yeah, she's heartbroken in the movie. Don't believe me? Also, in the film, the Baroness is the one who talks to Maria on the night of the party and tells her how the Captain feels about her. In the musical, that's Brigitte, which is fine, but pulling Elsa out of that scene means that Maria's impact on her relationship with the Captain is essentially null and void. On stage, Maria is never a threat in the Baroness's eyes, in the way she is in the film. And she has nothing to do with why they break up. And on stage, Maria runs in right at the very end of this scene. And basically the second thing Elsa says to her is that the children are wrong and that the engagement is no more. Which means when the love scene starts, Maria knows he's unattached. She knows he's single going in. The heartbreak she has about finding the Captain engaged is very, very, very quick on stage. But it's so much more powerful in the film. In the film, the first time she sees the Baroness after she arrives back is not the same scene where Elsa and the Captain break up. That's the next scene, and Maria is not present at that time. So when the love scene starts, she's still heartbroken because she doesn't know that the engagement has been called off. He's just broken things off with the Baroness and gone to find her. On stage, it's more of a giant coincidence thing that she happens to walk on stage right when Elsa's walking off. In the film, she's not there when they break the engagement off, and after that scene is when the captain comes to find her, and it's only when he tells her that the engagement is off that her heartbreak disappears, and it becomes such a joyful moment. Because of how Ernest Lehmann switched the scenes and changed all that, the love scene is powerful in the film. It's not in the musical, not in the same way. On stage it's much more cutesy. Another thing Ernest Lehmann did was switch the song placement of The Lonely Goatherd and My Favourite Things. Personally, plot-wise, I think it makes a little less sense for the children to run to Maria's room during the thunderstorm in the film. They haven't bonded with her the way they have on stage at this point. But that's not specifically related to the songs. As I said, that's plot. For the thunderstorm scene, My Favourite Things is definitely the better song to use. The lyrics of My Favourite Things are the sorts of things you would say, and by say I mean in dialogue, to cheer somebody up during this sort of situation. Lonely Goatherd as a song just comes out of nowhere. Which is kind of fitting because on stage, My Favourite Things comes out of nowhere. On stage the song is sung by Maria and the Reverend Mother, and I still don't get why that would happen right before she leaves for the villa. Also, as an aside, Ernest Lehmann was also the reason the pillow fight looked as good as it did.
We thought it looked fine. Ernie Lehmann, our screenwriter, said, "It's a little bit too planned." He said, "It doesn't look spontaneous." So we lessened a little bit of the exactness and made it freer.
No school. He'll fight.
And it worked. Ernest Lehmann.
Then there was what he did with Do Re Mi. Just like in the film, on stage it is their big bonding moment. But it happens right after she arrives, before 16 going on 17, before the thunderstorm, etc. Having it placed there in the story is why I think, plot-wise, it makes more sense that they would run to her room during the thunderstorm. Because they have bonded with her in the musical at this point in a way they haven't in the film. Not that it's unbelievable in the film, I just find it slightly more believable in the musical. But again, that is plot. Back to Do Re Mi. The way Do Re Mi happens in the film is the same reason that I Have Confidence exists at all. I Have Confidence exists because it's a film and they're in Austria and they can take advantage of all of that. And the way Do Re Mi works is the same. Staging it with them all dancing around the front room of the villa, like they do in NBC, is all well and good. But in the film we can see them run all through Salzburg, and we can see that it's clearly what they're doing a lot. It definitely showcases multiple occasions, and we can tell that this is what they've been doing the whole time their father's been away, rather than the 5 minutes he's left them alone. Translating a musical to a film at all will result in changes. But somehow Ernest Lehmann managed to weed out all the worst parts of the musical. No disrespect to Lindsay and Krauss. The musical is wonderful, and it stands on its own and it works well enough, but all the awkwardness that was in there is no more in the film, and I am very happy about that. To me, the dialogue is really what makes him so brilliant. All the cringeworthy moments are gone because that all came from the corniness of the dialogue, and that was what he changed.
Please, Maria, help me.
That line just doesn't make sense with his character, even in the play. And that is everything I've got today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. Do you think Ernest Lehmann saved the movie in ways that people don't really remember? Or do you disagree completely and you'd rather the movie was more like the original musical? I hope you guys are all staying safe. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!